Sam knew who was standing at her office door without looking. She called out without taking her eyes off the computer screen. "It better be important, Willow. I'm working on a big project." A slender young woman slipped into the office and stood patiently next to Samantha's desk until her boss deigned to look at her. After another minute, Sam pushed away from the keyboard and leaned back in the swivel chair in her luxurious office, her expression a mixture of impatience and love for her assistant. "She's like an extension of me," Sam thought, looking at the woman she had known since college. They lived in the same room back then and got along so well that after graduating from college, they continued to live in the same apartment. She would probably still be living with me if I hadn't found Mac. Sam met Mac McGraw 2 years after graduating from university and immediately decided that he would become her husband. Besides the fact that Mac was handsome and hardworking, everyone who knew him thought he was a truly good person. The young man did not immediately fall in love with the attractive and ambitious Samantha, and after he proposed to her, Sam left her longtime girlfriend and moved in with Mac. But Willow did not stand aside. They continued to hang out together so often that some of Mac's friends joked with him that he got 2 women for the price of 1. Sam and Willow remained close not only socially. When Sam got a promising job at a large public relations agency in New York, she immediately took Willow with her as an assistant. Her offer was not a charity. Willow was smart, diligent, and most importantly, loyal to Sam, down to the last detail. As Sam moved up the organizational hierarchy, Willow moved along with her. Sam was smiling to herself now. There were those in the agency who disparagingly called Willow Sam's favorite. But Sam relied on her a lot, even if, from time to time, she abused her friend's loyalty. "Ooh, Sam?" Willow cleared her throat. "Oh, sorry, Willow. I was thinking about my project. What do you have for me?" Now her young assistant looked extremely worried. "Sorry, Sam. I just think you need to look at this." With these words, she handed Sam her smartphone and pointed to an icon unfamiliar to Sam. "What is this?" Willow shifted uncomfortably. "It's called Rendezvous. This is a new dating service that has recently received a lot of hype in the media." Sam raised her eyebrows. "What are you doing with the dating app? You never date anyone." "Well, that doesn't mean I wouldn't if the right guy came along." "So you've never used this app?" "I used it. I posted my profile there and looked at the profiles of the guys who responded, but I haven't met any of them yet." Seeing her boss's grin, Willow hurried to continue. "Actually, I think most of the guys here are married men, and I would never date any of them. And in general, some of them may be crazy. Haven't you read about all these women who have gone missing?" Sam shook her head amusedly. "You watch too many TV shows about true crimes." Then she shook her head knowingly. "Don't try to trick me, Willow. The real reason you don't want to date other guys is because you've had a crush on my husband ever since you met him." Willow blushed. "No, that's not true. And anyway, Mac doesn't show any interest in me. Don't be too sure about it. One day, when he was a little too drunk, he told me that if I hadn't fought him off, he would have tried to date you." Willow blushed again. "You're just teasing me, Sam. Mac never said that. And besides, even if it were true, I would never do anything to hurt you." Sam decided that she had tormented her friend long enough already. Pointing to the icon, she asked, "So why did you want me to look at this?" At this, Willow's face dropped. "Oh, Sam, I made a new contact today. I think you should take a look at it." Taking her smartphone back, she clicked on the icon and logged into Rendezvous. When it connected, she tapped the screen again and then handed the phone to Sam. Her friend saw the profile of a man who wanted to meet Willow. There was no photograph, only a short description, as well as some information about the man, his likes and dislikes. Sam glanced at the form and then looked at Willow, puzzled. "This doesn't tell me anything. Why would I date someone I can't even see?" "Well, that's the attraction. It's all a little mysterious, like a blind date, but you already know you're compatible. Or at least, Rendezvous thinks you're compatible." The whole computer dating thing has become such a cliché that the element of surprise is what makes this new service appealing. Well, if you say so, then fine. But what's so special about this guy? Read the profile more carefully. Frowning her brows, Sam reread the profile. I still don't understand. It could be anyone. Look at his description, look at the college, look at the field he works in. Honestly, he sounds just like... Oh my God, he sounds like Mac. The description is similar to him. He went to the same college, and he works in the futures market, just like Mac. Regrettably, Willow reached out and scrolled back to the top of the page. Look at his screen name. Sam winced. Mr. Nice Guy. That's what everyone calls Mac. Willow looked ready to cry. I'm sorry, Sam. I really am. I was so shocked when I saw it that I felt like I just had to show it to you. Sam looked at her friend with fury in her eyes. I won't stand for this. If Mac cheats on me, I have to take revenge on him. I know it looks suspicious, Sam, but I just can't believe Mac would cheat on you. He's crazy about you. I know it. Don't do anything irreversible, at least until you get more information. This could all just be one of those crazy coincidences. Sam took a deep breath to compose herself. You're right, Willow. I won't make any accusations until I know more. But I promise you that I will not ignore this. No one deceives me and gets away with it. Sam was still fuming when she returned home that evening, but she hid her emotions well from her husband. While they ate and rested after dinner, she listened carefully to see if there were any false notes in his conversation, but he seemed completely normal in all respects. Either he's innocent, or my Mr. Nice Guy is very level-headed. I thought I knew him so well, but now I'm not so sure. She decided that the first thing she should do was check his phone, but she couldn't figure out how to do it. Mac usually always kept his smartphone in his pocket. And even if she could get it, Sam knew that its screen was encrypted with a number she didn't know. She had been confused most of the evening, but the opportunity presented itself as they were getting ready for bed. He was brushing his teeth when he said to her, "What's the forecast for tomorrow? Will it rain?" Instantly, she knew what needed to be done. "My phone is in my purse in the living room. Let me check yours. What's your code?" He gave it to her, and she took his iPhone from the dresser. "Looks like there's a 60% chance of rain," she called out to him, frantically scrolling through his apps. When she saw the familiar iRendezvous app, her heart began to pound. But before she could open it to check his activity, she heard him leave the bathroom. Hastily putting the phone on the nightstand, she turned off the lamp so that he wouldn't see how pale her face had turned. He soon fell asleep, and she lay awake for a long time, angrily tossing and turning. When Samantha walked into her office the next morning, Willow was already waiting for her. One look at the boss's face, and the girl rushed to hug her friend's shoulders. "Oh, Sam, I'm so sorry. Tell me what happened." After Sam revealed what she found, Willow was devastated. But then hope appeared in her eyes. "Just because you found the app doesn't prove that he's cheating on you. I still can't believe Mac could be unfaithful. There must be some other explanation." "I doubt it," Sam snapped. "It looks too much like a coincidence. But I figured out how to catch him red-handed so that there would be no doubt." When Willow looked at her expectantly, Sam said triumphantly, "I'm gonna go catfishing." "What? What are you talking about?" "You know, catching catfish with live bait. That's what it's called when you create a fake online identity to hook someone. I'm going to join iRendezvous and create a personality that will surely attract Mac. If he takes the bait, as I think he will, I'll make an appointment, and when he shows up, he won't have the chance to lie." "Wow, I think this will work, but it seems pretty mean." "Exactly. Now show me how to sign up for the service, and then give me some time to create a profile that is sure to attract him." An hour later, Sam called Willow into her office and handed her a piece of paper. "That's what I came up with. You know Mac well. Do you think he'll be attracted to this?" Willow glanced at the profile. "Miss Unforgettable? Is that what you call yourself?" Sam grinned wolfishly. If I catch Mac like this, I guarantee you he'll never forget what happens to him. Shaking her head, Willow looked back at the newspaper. Married, but not attached. Looking for adventure rather than relationships. She looked at her boss. You really have screwed up too much. I know, it's perfect. Hey, it says here that you are 24 years old. You are 34 like me. Sam shook her head at her assistant. Everyone lies in such cases. Besides, I still look at least 10 years younger. Well, if Mac is really looking for a no-strings-attached affair with his bored wife, this should appeal to him. She shook her head sadly, heading towards the door. I just hope that's not the case. Returning from lunch, Willow stopped at Samantha's office door. Well, did you do it? Do you have any bites? Sam rolled her eyes in disgust. Oh yes, I received a ton of responses. But they are all from creepy guys who I wouldn't touch even 3 meters away. There wasn't even a peep from Mr. Nice Guy. This is what you want, isn't it? Not if it doesn't bring me closer to solving Mac problems. But honestly, I'm starting to doubt this little scheme. But 3 hours later, Willow looked up to see Sam leaning against the wall of her office, a wide grin on her face. I caught him. Mr. Nice Guy just took my bait. We're going to meet tomorrow after work for a drink. Sadness mixed with worry clouded Willow's usually cheerful features. I still can't believe Mac would do something like that, she said, more to herself than to Sam. She then looked up at her boss. If it's really a Mac, will you be okay? Don't worry about me, girl. Worry about Mac. It is he who will suffer when he realizes that I know everything. When Sam drove home to their apartment that evening, she found it difficult to control her rapidly changing emotions. At first, she was happy that her catfishing expedition had ended successfully. However, her glee soon turned to nervousness at the thought of having to deal with Mac that evening. But the thought of him cheating on her fueled the fire of her anger, and she grimly told herself to be strong and act normal. I have to act normal for one more day. I can handle it. When she entered the apartment, Mac greeted her with a warm kiss. She smiled bravely and answered him, hiding her vengeful thoughts behind a facade of normality. Indeed, everything about their evening went well, but when they were getting ready for bed, she could not resist a little harassment. Oh, Mac, I forgot to mention that tomorrow I'll be a little late getting home. After work, I have a meeting with a client. Okay, baby, no problem. What about you? Do you have any plans? Nope, just everything the same and everything the same. She nodded, but when the light went out, she lay there cursing him for being able to lie so easily. The next morning, Willow was surprised to see her boss in an outfit more suitable for a nightclub than the office. The low neckline was so revealing that it seemed completely inappropriate to Willow for a business setting. In response to her assistant's raised eyebrows, Samantha laughed unpleasantly. I want Mac to take a good look at what he's going to be missing. As the day wore on, Willow became increasingly anxious about the upcoming confrontation. Just before leaving home, she stopped by Sam's office. Are you sure this is a good idea? Absolutely. I can't wait to see the look on Mac's face when he realizes he's been caught. Do you want me to go with you, for moral support? Sam laughed. No, I think I can handle this without you. A few minutes before 6:30, Sam walked into Massimo's, the lounge where she and Mr. Nice Guy had agreed to meet. The place was not crowded, and it took her only a short time to look around the room and determine that Mac had not yet arrived. She took a table near the back and ordered a Manhattan from the waitress to calm her nerves. She had almost finished her drink when a man's voice from behind startled her. You truly live up to your name. You are truly unforgettable. She turned around and saw a tall, slender man whom she had never met before. He had dark, almost black, curly hair, a well-shaped face, covered with a short, stylish beard. She stared at him silently. He is the most handsome man I have ever met in my life. Sorry if I scared you, the man said in his deep baritone voice. He pulled a chair over to the other side of her table and sat down just as the waitress returned. Do you drink Manhattan? He asked, and when she nodded, he said to the waitress, Pour it for the lady, and for me too." He raised one eyebrow and gave her an inquisitive smile. Suddenly she realized that she was still silent. "Oh, sorry," she apologized. "You're just not who I expected to see." Now his smile widened. "I feel the same. You are much more beautiful than I expected." She blushed and smiled gratefully at his compliment. While the waitress brought drinks, he began to have a pleasant, light conversation. He had a natural sense of humor, which quickly endeared her to him. "I have a confession to make," he said, leaning towards her. "I lied in my profile. In fact, I am 8 years older than I indicated. Seeing how young you are, I hope this doesn't put you off." "Oh no, not at all." "Actually, I like older men," she replied, choosing not to correct his misjudgment of her actual age. "I don't do this very often," he admitted a little later. "I recently got divorced and I'm just starting to return to social life. But enough about me. Tell me about yourself." With that, he began asking her about her life, and she found herself sharing more information than usual. As they chatted, he told her stories of his travels and humorous experiences, which fascinated and amused her. As she sat listening to that deep voice and looking at his face, a thought flashed through her mind. "This is similar to what it was like when I was single and dating." She immediately scolded herself for such inappropriate thoughts, but immediately burst out laughing at his next remark and forgot herself again. After a while, he gave her a seductive smile and asked, "There is a good restaurant nearby. Would you like to have dinner with me?" "God, what time is it?" She quickly glanced at her watch and was surprised to see how late it was already. "I would really like to," she told him, "but it's time for me to go home." She reluctantly stood up to leave, and he did so politely as well. He then reached across the table and lifted her left hand to look at the engagement ring. "Your husband is very lucky." He smiled. Having released her, he continued, "You know how to contact me. I would like nothing more than to see you again. But if this is not destined to happen, this evening will still be unforgettable for me." He then approached her, kissed her on the lips, and walked away, leaving her stunned and flushed. When Sam returned home, Mac was already waiting for her. "How was the meeting?" he asked. "Oh, great. Just business." Mac warmed up a plate of dinner for her, and while she ate, he sat with her and talked about his day. She seemed lost in thought to him, and he wondered if something had happened. But after they loaded the dishwasher, she suddenly hugged him and pulled him close. "Come on, husband," she gasped. "I need you to take me to bed now." Mac chuckled. "If washing dishes affects you like that, then we will have the cleanest dishes in town." With these words, he picked her up and carried her back to the bedroom, kissing her passionately as he went. Finding herself there, she took off her clothes before he could help her, and when he was too slow to take off his, she pounced on him and quickly finished the job. He began to kiss and caress her, but she shook her head impatiently. "No, don't." With these words, she pulled him towards her, and although he complied with energy and enthusiasm, she discovered that something was wrong. She usually enjoyed sex with Mac, but this time it seemed like everything he did was so familiar, so predictable. Afterwards, as he lay hugging her, she felt a surge of anger. What the hell is wrong with me? The next morning, Willow was waiting in Sam's office when she arrived. "So, what happened?" she asked anxiously. "Was it a Mac?" Sam shook her head. "No, Willow, it wasn't him." "Oh, thank God. I just knew he wouldn't do anything like that." Sam couldn't help but smile at Willow's obvious relief. When her pulse returned to normal, Willow tilted her head curiously. "So what happened? You must have been terribly embarrassed and ashamed." Sam's smile grew even wider now. "No, girl. It wasn't awkward at all. In fact, it was a delightful meeting." Willow's confusion was obvious. "So you didn't leave right away?" "No, I stayed there and had a couple of cocktails with him." "Why?" "Well, to be honest, he was the most handsome man I've ever met. Not only that, but he proved to be a fascinating conversationalist. He was witty and interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation." "Is it true?" Oh yeah, I haven't had this much fun for a long time. Wait a minute, Sam, you tried to catch your husband cheating. You don't have to start anything yourself. Sam shook her head smugly. Of course not. I would never do anything like that. It was just one of those random events that worked out well for both of us. Nothing will happen. Well, I hope not. With that, Willow returned to her work area to finish her work. Sam started reading her email, but got distracted by thoughts of Mr. Nice Guy. Even as she resumed work on the advertising campaign she was developing, she continued to remember the details of their conversation and the way he laughed while telling one of his charming stories. Later, after a light lunch at her desk, she found it almost impossible to bring her mind back to work. I haven't felt this way in ages. After wasting almost the entire day, she finally made an impulsive decision. Picking up her smartphone, she used the iRendezvous program to send a note to her new friend. I'd really like to see you again. If you're still interested, meet me the day after tomorrow at noon for lunch at the Midtown Hotel Bar and Grill. After sending the message, she sat in silence, surprising herself. This doesn't sound like me. I don't do anything like that. But the thought of seeing him again increased her desire. She spent the rest of the day checking her phone every few minutes to see if he answered. But there was no answer, and she finally gave up and went home.